What if I tell you one of the Africa's greatest family fortune was built by not just digging diamonds from the ground, but by controlling how the world sees them? And what if the real genius behind the most powerful business empires in modern history was not just mining alone, but scarcity, storytelling, and timing? Because the story of De Beers is not just a story about diamonds. It's a story about empire, monopoly, and ambition. And one of the family, the Oppenheimers, who took mining business and turned it into the most influential wealth machines that Africa has ever produced. For generations, the name De Beers was almost a synonym of diamonds themselves. And for much of that era, the family much closely associated with the power of the Oppenheimers family. And this is a story of how the De Beers company began, how the Oppenheimers took the command of it, and how diamond became one of the most carefully managed luxury on the earth. And this is Billionaires.Africa. Before we unpack this story, I want you to make sure you like, share, and subscribe to follow up, because we're just getting started. We are going to start with the origin of the De Beers empire. Go back in South Africa in the late of 19th century, when the diamonds were discovered near what would become Kimberley, in present-day South Africa. The name De Beers actually came from the De Beers brothers, and whose farm diamonds deposits were found. And that details is one of the history's little ironies. The family gave the company its name, but they did not become the dynasty most people now associate with. At first, the diamond field was very chaotic. 1,000 of prospectors rushed in. Small claims were taken. Competition exploded. Everyone wanted a piece of a new wealth. But there was one major problem. Fragmented ownership made a market very unstable, and that created an opening. Because whenever a valuable resource is discovered in chaos, the most people who often win are the most who did not find it first. Because whenever a resource is discovered in chaos, the most people who are likely to win are the one who didn't find it first. The man who first transformed the diamond rushed into a unified corporate empire in Cecil Rhodes. And Rhodes understood something very early. If diamond trade remained fragmented, fortunes would be unstable. But if one company could consolidate production and manage supply, it could gain enormous power. So he began buying claims. Step by step, Rhodes assembled control around the De Beers mine and other diamond interests in Kimberley. And in 1888, he created De Beers Consolidated Mines Limited, and that was a former birth of De Beers empire. From the very beginning, De Beers was all about more than just finding the diamonds. It was about controlling how many diamonds entered the market, when they entered the market, and at what price. The business was built on a simple but powerful principle and strategy. Diamonds are more valuable when they appear scarce. And scarcity in this case will not just be left to nature alone. It will be organized. And this is where the Beers story became very important. Because the company was never just a mining operation. Mining produced the stones, but control produced the fortunes. De Beers learned that if it could regulate global supply, it could protect prices and shape the market behavior. In other words, the company's power didn't just become from what they owned from the underground. It came from what they control above the ground. And this distinction matters. Many mining companies sell what they extract. De Beers built a system for governing the flow of diamonds into a global market. And this was not just another producer. It was becoming the central force in diamond trade itself. And that set of the stage for the arrival of the family that would define the next era of the empire, the Oppenheimers. If Rhodes built the original empire, Ernest Oppenheimer built the dynasty. He was born in Germany in 1880. Ernest Oppenheimer, he entered the market of Southern African mining world quickly and revealed himself as more than a businessman. He was a strategist. And in 1917, he founded the Anglo-American Corporation in South Africa. And this was a critical milestone because the Anglo-American gave Ernest Oppenheimer something bigger than the mining interest. It gave him a corporate platform power enough to challenge and eventually control De Beers itself. By 1926, Anglo-America had become the largest single stakeholder in De Beers. And by the late 1920s, Ernest Oppenheimer had effectively taken a control of De Beers empire. And in 1929, he became a chairman of De Beers. And this is one of the greatest handover business in African history. The empire built the age of Rhodes had passed into the hands of Oppenheimers. And this was never just a mining story. It was a story about power, a story about who controls the value, a story about who controls or who shapes the desire, and about how one company and one family helped define the global diamond trade for more than a century. So stay connected with Billionaires Africa. I'll see you in the next one.